Arriving in Sith space, Revan and Malak posed as mercenaries to gather intelligence, and eventually formed a plan of working with the royal guard Yari to infiltrate the Imperial Citadel and assassinate the Emperor. Unfortunately for them, the Sith ruler was fully aware of their presence, and sent Yari to work as a double agent, meaning that when Revan and Malak arrived in the throne room, the Emperor was ready and quickly dominated their minds with his unique powers. Enslaved to his will, they were each granted an ancient title of great prestige, and reborn into the dark side as Darth Revan and Darth Malak of the Sith Empire. Publicly, Vitiate announced they caught and executed 2 spies, but in private, he ordered his new servants to return home and conquer the Republic. To aid them in this mission, they were instructed to use the Starforge, star-powered, force-infused technology built by the ancient Rakatans, capable of creating an endless supply of ships and war materials. In order to find this mechanical wonder, the Dark Lords left Sith space and journeyed to Manaan, Tatooine, and Korriban, collecting the final pieces of the map to reveal its location. On Korriban, Revan recovered the mask of the great Sith Lord Tulak Hord, and throughout the journey recorded a personal holocron with his teachings and philosophy, most notably explaining his thoughts on the relationship between master and apprentice, ideas which later inspired Darth Bane's rule of 2 and a lineage of Dark Lords who eventually defeated the Jedi Order. Following the map they assembled, Revan and Malak were led to the planet Lehan, where they crash-landed on its surface. Learning the world was surrounded by a disruptor field, the Sith Lords made deals with and betrayed both sides of a tribal conflict among the local Rakatan population, allowing them to access the Temple of the Ancients, where the disruptor field was controlled so they could leave the planet and enter the Starforge. Yet something changed within the minds of Revan and Malak throughout the weeks and months since leaving the Sith Empire, as their distance from Dromund Kaas and strong wills allowed them to unknowingly free themselves from the Emperor's control, left with only vague recollections of their time in Imperial space. From these altered and obscured memories, the Dark Lords concluded they must take direct control over the Republic, so they might possess the strength necessary to defeat the terrible threat waiting in the unknown regions. Believing the Jedi proved their weakness by abstaining from the Mandalorian Wars, they dedicated themselves to the dark side and founded a new Sith Empire with Darth Revan as master and Darth Malak as apprentice. Inspiring great devotion within many of those under his command during the war, Revan had legions of loyalist soldiers ready to serve in his new Sith fleet, manning ships built and supplied by the Starforge. Taking their new fleet to Korriban, they captured the planet and established an academy to train a new generation of Sith Lords under their command. Hoping to better understand the Starforge, Revan conducted an experiment by removing a tiny piece of it and creating the infinite engine, able to absorb raw materials and in return produce food, water, clothing, and the essentials of life. Though the Starforge appeared to be an incredible resource of seemingly limitless potential, prolonged use could also have terrible side effects, resulting from a design flaw unforeseen by its creators. Due to the force-sensitive nature of this technology, it was corrupted by the dark side energy of the ancient Rakatans, who were cruel slavers bent on galactic conquest. This meant that anyone exposed to the Starforge felt a surge of negative emotions, to the point where it could cause the downfall of entire civilizations. Fortunately, Revan was wise enough to avoid overusing the Starforge, or obsessing over its potential, and instead employed it as a tool for a specific purpose and nothing more. Malak, however, disagreed with this decision, and believed they should spend more time studying the Forge and exploiting its abilities. Using his vast knowledge of the Republic and his incredible skill as a strategist, Darth Revan planned a 20-year campaign to achieve a final and complete victory, beginning with the First Battle of Foros in 3958 BBY, where they captured a large portion of the enemy fleet. Since most saw no difference between the Force-wielding warriors doing battle across the galaxy, the conflict was named the Jedi Civil War, and soon saw many Republic warriors crossing over to the Sith as they were sympathetic to the cause of Revan, whom they remembered as a war hero. Among the many defectors, the highest ranking was Saul Kareth, who was made Admiral of the entire Sith fleet. However, in order to prove his loyalty, Malak demanded he bomb the civilian population of Telos 4, and so Kareth did as ordered, much to the anger of Revan, who wanted to conquer and make use of the planet. In addition to his plans for direct military engagement, Revan also ordered the assassination of many prominent Republic figures, with the aim of crippling their leadership while keeping the military and political structure of the government intact, thereby making it easier to assume and maintain power upon their victory. Yet not all his enemies were murdered in secret, as the Echani General Usanis was so outraged by Revan's betrayal, he outright challenged the Sith Lord to single combat, leading to his defeat and death. In order to simultaneously grow the ranks of his Sith warriors and reduce the size of the enemy, he sent his servants to capture Jedi, torturing and corrupting them until either they died or fell to the dark side. As for the logistical and commercial needs of his people, Revan allied with the greedy Zerka Corporation, offering them an exclusive contract with the Sith Empire. Though not everything was going exactly to plan, Darth Revan's larger strategy was working and had the Republic on the defensive, but soon an unexpected threat to his plans emerged from within his own ranks, as his apprentice Darth Malak was growing ever more tired of being second in command. Though Revan and Malak were friends and comrades for years, their fall to the dark side poisoned their relationship, transforming it from an emotional connection to a professional one, with each now viewing the other as a useful tool to further their progress. As a result, Malak's loyalty to Revan existed only so far as he remained a strong and successful leader. To this end, the apprentice was beginning to suspect his master was growing weak, and in 3957 publicly challenged his authority. In response to this insult, they fought a duel in which Revan struck Malak down, removing the man's jaw with a strike of his lightsaber. Though the Sith apprentice survived, he was forced to wear a prosthesis for the rest of his life. Despite momentarily reclaiming his authority, the rift between master and apprentice was now visible for all to see, and another confrontation was inevitable. In the meantime, Revan suffered yet another unexpected threat when he was lured into an Outer Rim trap and soon found his vessel boarded by a Jedi strike team. Undeterred by the many light side enemies he was facing, Revan sent out a signal for assistance and prepared for battle. Finding the Dark Lord on the bridge, the Jedi were set to engage him, only for Malak's fleet to arrive just in time to intervene. Yet rather than save his leader, Malak realized this was his chance to become master of the Sith, and so instead fired upon Revan's ship, hoping to destroy them all. As a result of the chaos around them, Revan was knocked unconscious while all the Jedi were killed, save for the Padawan, Bastila Shan, a specialist in battle meditation, who used her powers to save the Dark Lord's life, which under the stress of the situation created a force bond between them. Escaping the ship, Bastila took Revan's unconscious body as well as his mask to Dantooine, where the Jedi Council decided to heal his wounds and give him a second chance at life by wiping his memory. Granting him a new identity as a Republic soldier, the Council hoped his tremendous talents might help them in defeating the Sith Empire he created. Love Star Wars? Then why not check out Audible, where they have the largest collection of audiobooks available. Sign up now and get a free audiobook along with 2 Audible originals, or else give the gift of membership to someone you know. If you prefer to read your stories, then click on the link to the Kindle Unlimited plan and get access to as many ebooks as you wish. If you haven't already, be sure to check out the Star Wars Old Republic series, including Book 3 exploring the life of the hero Revan after the Jedi Civil War. A special thanks to all those who contribute to Civilization X, like Sith Ben 24, Pete J. King, Tio the Iron Banker, and Daedry Dragon's Wit. If you'd like to help the channel, go to patreon.com/civilizationx, where you can sign up and gain early access to videos, vote on future content, and access the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.